We're covering Surah Yusuf, chapter 12, and it's 111 verses. We're going to try to go through half and have a discussion, and also on Thursday we're going to try to cover the second part.
Yep.
So
hi Kake.
So pretty much, since we're gonna share the surah. It's a YouTube video that's gonna be reading through the surah, also giving us explanation about the surah, and then we can have discussion. If you have any questions, you can just get off mute in the middle of it, and then just ask question, and we can discuss it, and then move along. So.
Yep. So make sure you hit watch stream so that you can see the video of it. And this one is going to be one of like our longer sessions because we're like what he said, we're breaking this up into two parts. If there's anything at any moment that you feel like, you want to discuss or something resonate, etc., feel free to speak up so that we can stop it and have a discussion. And I think we can do the same as well,
Yeah. So
okay.
Let's start. Click watch stream. So it's currently being shared right now. So you have to click watch stream to see the video pop up.
Actually, before we get started, are you guys familiar
That's
with?
What I'm saying.
Well, no, I don't want to go through the context. I just want to take a poll of them. Like, are you guys familiar with the surah and with the story of Yusuf?
No, not me.
Oh, okay. That was.
I have to use a refresher on everything.
And that's okay. So.
To every afflicted individual, I present before you the tale of Yusuf so that it can nurse your wounds, so that it can give solace to your pain and your agony. Any person feeling distraught, feeling depressed, feeling miserable, feeling low, tell him to read or listen to the tale of Yusuf, and instantly he will feel tranquil, calm and relaxed. So here we have this young boy, he has a dream, he has a vision. So he sees this dream as a little child. It's this 11 stars, it's this brilliant, bright sun, and it's this moon in a row together, all bowing and prostrating before me. When Sayyidina Yaqub alayhi salam heard this, he was a man of prophethood, coming from a family of prophethood. Yaqub realized that a great future was in the making. So he took the necessary precautions. So he said, my son, I'm happy you told me, I'm your dad, I wish the best for you. But don't say it for your brothers, I'm afraid they won't wish as I wish for you. Fate had it, Sayyidina Yusuf leaked it out and he couldn't contain it, so he tells his brothers, you know what, I had this dream. I seen this year the 11 stars, sun, moon prostrating. Now although they were not prophets, but they were in the house of prophethood, so obviously they had some degree of understanding as well, and they realized that there is something great happening, and they also sensed the father having an inclination. They said, by Allah, our dad loves Yusuf and his brother. Our dad is naive, our dad is deviant. So when they were harboring jealousy, we will drop him in the well, and we know it's evil, but then we'll make tawbah thereafter. Anyway, they muster the courage and they come to the dad, who's going to put the bell around the cat. Dad, it's been long, Yusuf hasn't accompanied us. You just want to let him go, and tomorrow we will party, we will indulge. Yarta', we will eat. Yal'ab, he will play. Wa inna lahu lahafidun, we'll take good care of him. He didn't oppose the concept of going out and having quality time. He had reservations and apprehensions that he felt that he was a young boy, he wasn't able to fend for himself. So anyway, Yaqub alayhi salam releases Ibn Kathir's narration, when the brothers take Sayyidina Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam, after negotiating with the dad, but in the back of the mind they've hatched this plan that they're going to drop him in the depth of this well. So as they leave the presence of Yaqub, they embrace the boy, they kiss him, no, let me hold him, no, let me hold him. So there's almost like a squabble to carry Yusuf alayhi salam, to give the notion of commitment and love. They barely slip out from the vision of the dad.
Assalamu alaikum. This is an urgent appeal for the people of Yemen. The suffering
of commitment and love. They barely slip out from the vision of the dad, and here they start hurling the most nasty, condescending, vituperative comments. And Ibn Kathir says that the little boy in his feeble voice speaks out, "But my brothers, this is not what you told our dad. But we just left him now. You were holding me, hugging me, embracing me." And the narration also says Yaqub alayhi salam embraced his son. Can you imagine how emotional that embrace must have been? He had this thing bothering him within himself. There's something sinister. There's something malicious. So with an embrace, with love, with affection, he releases. No sooner are they out of the sight of the dad, they drop him down. This is jealousy. Allah said, as he slipped in the depth of the well, we informed him, inspired him, and comforted him. We said, just hang in, Yusuf. Just persevere. There will come a time where you will narrate the details of this event to these very brothers with absolute confidence, and they will not recognize who you are. Now they made up the tale, they dropped him there, but there's a lot of consequences. How do we face our dad? So what they did, they exploited the apprehension of their dad. And they said, listen, the best thing would be to say, the very fears that he had, tragically his fears became a reality. They decided to come by night. They wanted to take shelter in the cover of dark. They didn't have the courage to look their dad in his eyes. Why? Because there was guilt trickling down their cheeks. They come crying. Qurtubi writes, this is a categoric and explicit proof of the fact that every man who tears is not necessarily a victim. Now, you know, a crack in the voice, weakness in the body, you are feeling lethargic. Dad, you're not going to believe us. That's the first sign of a liar. How are you possibly going to hoodwink a Nabi of Allah? Our dad, you're not going to believe us. There was wolves roaming in the area. So dad, really, here is the shirt of our brother. So they come with the shirt of Yusuf stained with false blood. And they say, this is Yusuf alayhi salam's, Yusuf's shirt. And really, apologies my dad, that this is what had happened. Instantly he looked at this and he said, Subhanallah, I would love to meet this wolf. What a neat job in staining my son's shirt. Almost like he opened up his shirt, took it out, stained it without any slit, cut or any hole in any way. This was like a professional job, but this is the beauty of a Nabi. But when he realized it's over and they have fabricated the deal, for me now onwards, I have to persevere in a manner that I don't moan or groan or question my Allah.
He was bought by one of the main people in Egypt at the time, one of the officials there. He took him to his house. This is where Yusuf grew up. So he was taken away from his loving father, from his parents, from his mother, at a young age, deprived of that love, deprived from that care, deprived from that parenthood and that homely atmosphere. And when he grew up, it gets worse when the wife of his master, and now she's his master, she can command him, she has authority and power over him. She closes the doors and the windows, and he refused out of fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. No, he proactively tried to get away.
So far, do anybody have any questions as we're going through it, or something that stood out to them, or maybe a question? No, you.
Or thoughts?
Or any thoughts? You?
No question. I'm familiar, like with the story. It's so you know he has dreams, right? And his dreams kind of foresee a lot of things that were happening. His dad had a sense of what the dream may be, and then the brothers were very jealous. And you know they took him out. Threw him in the well, right? Left him for dead. Yeah. Came back, told the dad, okay, he was attacked by wolves, right? Eventually he was found and sold into slavery, I believe. Yeah. And then ended up working for, and apparently the story says that he was, he ended up working or being enslaved, right? His master's, and at the time, then he's in a position where like his master's wife or whatever, you know, and I think eventually she even tries to like set him up, or with her friends and things like that, because he was apparently attractive. Is the story. And so, but he didn't want to necessarily tap into that. But yeah, I'll let them continue to.
So I was gonna say, like, because it is the Surah of Joseph, and in terms of
Jacob,
is it? Yusuf, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, Yusuf is not Jacob.
Yusuf is who?
That's what I wanted to, because I was kind of confused. So Jacob would be Yusuf's dad, right? Yaqub would be Yusuf's dad.
Yusuf in Bible
Would be like Joseph.
Joseph.
So
yes, you're
Joseph's
right.
father would be Jacob.
Joseph's father.
Which in Islam they'll say Yaqub.
Yes.
Okay,
you're correct.
so just to get clarified, because I was confused a little bit, but okay, so
Joseph.
yeah, and just quick context.
Joseph was the favorite son of Jacob. Yes, that's correct. So Jacob was the father.
Okay. All right. Okay. Got you. And so who's Joseph?
Joseph is the child here.
No, I get it. So like in the story.
Yes.
Okay. So I wanted to kind of talk about the importance of Joseph in the story in particular. Why is he highlighted?
Because he's the one who had like this dream, and then his siblings threw him in the well.
Joseph had the dream. Mm-hmm. Okay. And
I think he was the youngest of
Jacob's
all
sons.
of those kids at the time, I think.
And how many sons
then
Jacob
he had
had?
other siblings after when he wasn't around, but I think.
Okay. I just wanted to get context. Bean, you want to say something?
I was just listening, trying to get the context.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Let me just kind of
okay, go ahead. Yeah.
Just a little bit of context. So like we're not just listening to like a story where we don't know the direction of it. Mm-hmm. Let me see. Okay. All right, cool. So in the Quran, Yusuf in Arabic, which is Joseph in the Bible, is a prominent prophet whose story is detailed in Surah Yusuf, chapter 12, which recount his life, trials, and eventually rise to power in Egypt. Here's are more details to look at Joseph's story in the Quran. The prophet and the dream they interpret this dream as Joseph is presented as the prophet and a gifted interpreter of dreams and talent that plays a crucial role in the narrative. So he had a dream. You're right, like Numsa said.
And then when he was enslaved, I didn't want to ruin what's going to happen.
No, but I think a good context with as so far the 6 minutes that we listened to. Do anybody know I think Lamin is familiar with it, but like Bean and Al-Mami, do you guys kind of like see the direction of the story as far as where we stopped at right now? That 6 minute.
Yeah, so far I'm up to the point like, yeah.
Okay.
And maybe
brothers, yeah.
Maybe as part of the context, anything that's not ruining what's going to happen next, you can.
Yeah.
But anything that's going to like.
So I was going to talk about
rising to Egypt and all of that is coming up. They're going to get into that.
All right. Okay. I think Let's go ahead. Let's just continue.
Away from that situation, so he rushed to the door. He ran to the gate. And then they played it down. They tried to keep it low key so no one hears about it. But then Yusuf alayhi salam was exposed to more fitna because the wife of Al-Aziz exposed him to more women who fell for his beauty. Because as the Prophet ﷺ said, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave half of beauty to Yusuf alayhi salam. So women fell
in the bottom of the well. He didn't die in the bottom of the well like his siblings wanted him to.
Okay. I might have missed that part in here. Because I was...
the part about the well, did you get that part?
Was that mentioned in here?
Yeah, so his siblings took him out. His siblings found out about the dream, took him out, threw him in a well, right? Left him for dead. Then they brought his shirt covered with fake blood to the dad and said, wolves try to kill him.
I just wanted to make sure if it was mentioned because I was still working on when the story started.
Oh, yeah, it was. They explained it.
All right, so who's Aziz?
Then he was sold into slavery And I believe Aziz, and we can bring it back a little bit, is the master, because they said that the master of his wife, I mean
when the wife of his master,
wife of the master was trying to essentially like,
and now she's his master. She can come deprived of that love, deprived from that care, deprived from that parenthood and that homely atmosphere. And when he grew up, it gets worse when the wife of his master, and now she's his master, she can command him, she has authority and power over him. She closes the doors and the windows, and he refused out of fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
she tries to seduce him.
Okay, yeah, because he didn't say it. I just saw it written.
Yeah.
Okay. So his master's wife tried to seduce him.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And then tries to set him up with other women.
And he refused out of fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. No, he proactively tried to get away from that situation. So he rushed to the door. He ran to the gate. And then they played it down. They tried to keep it low key so no one hears about it. But then Yusuf alayhi salam was exposed to more fitna because the wife of Al-Aziz exposed him to more women who fell for his beauty. Because as the Prophet ﷺ said, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave half of beauty to Yusuf alayhi salam. So women fell for his beauty. And that created so much rumors about Yusuf that he was after women. And he sought Allah's help to get out of this situation. And he said, oh Allah, even if it means I'm taken to prison, I'd go for that rather than just be in this kind of environment where there's a lot of seduction. So Allah answers his dua, and he's taken unjustly to prison. He's convicted unjustly, put in prison.
But now Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us that when Yusuf alayhi salam entered into prison, there were two other young men who were entered into prison along with him. They come to Yusuf alayhi salam and they say, look, we've heard that you're a special guy, that you can interpret dreams, that you're a very pious, righteous man. Well, one of them says, I saw a dream that I am basically squeezing, extracting wine for the king. And the second one says, I'm seeing that I'm carrying a basket of bread on my head, but what's going on is that these birds are coming and eating from that basket of bread. So please tell us what these dreams mean, because we obviously see for ourselves. We heard, but now we see for ourselves that you are an excellent, excellent person. You are from those who excel in doing good deeds, a righteous, pious man. So now Yusuf alayhi salam does something very interesting. They're asking for the interpretation of their dreams. Yusuf alayhi salam says, this is the ideal opportunity to have a very important conversation. What does he say? First of all, let me establish one thing. Before your next meal arrives, I will have told you the interpretation of your dreams. So meaning what? So I need you to stay with me here. I need you to pay attention. You're asking me for something. I'd like to share something with you as well. How do I interpret dreams? I'm not some angel that I interpret dreams. Rather, this is something my Lord, my Master, Allah taught me to do. He says, I have left the religion, the way of those people who don't believe in Allah, and they disbelieve very vehemently in the life of the hereafter. They reject belief in the life of the hereafter. But rather, what do I do? What's my path in life? He says, I follow the religion, the path of my forefathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Yaqub. It was never an option for us to ever associate anything with Allah as a partner. This is from the huge blessing that Allah has showered upon us, but rather most people, they don't appreciate this fact that Allah has given us this information. Allah has taught us this. And then he says, oh my two companions in prison. He said, what's better? Is it better to worship many, many different deities and gods and lords? Or is it better to worship Allah, who is one, alone, unique, and dominant and powerful? That the command, the power is only for Allah, is only in the hands of Allah. He has commanded that you worship no one other than Him. Only Him you should worship. This is the proper way to live one's life, but most people, they don't understand. Now as Yusuf alayhi salam had promised, he says, Ya sahiba yis-sijn.
Okay, I'm gonna pause it real quick. So what do you guys think so far? Any thoughts? And then so you can add on.
No.
Okay.
Essentially, he's in prison. he kind of starts his career as a dream interpreter. You'll see he'll raise in ranks. He'll be trusted advisors of, the king and all of that. And I don't want to ruin it, but
you have to. I'm saying as far as what we just covered. So like you mentioned, like him being in prison with those two guys are asking him all the questions about their dream, so they can kind of get some type of answer to kind of
guide them.
Understand what the dream means in totality. But the question I have first, like, because there are many prophets, I want to know if Yusuf, like, what like his era, like timeline, was Yusuf before Moses? I'm guessing, because it's Moses, Jesus, and Muhammad.
Well, I think there's thousands and thousands and thousands.
Yeah, I'm talking about in terms of who came, like, in terms of like the ones that are highlighted. Even if they're 1,000, we only know a few prominent. I mean, not a few, several prominent prophet that are highlighted. There's some prophet we don't know. So I'm just saying, like.
So it says.
Moses came after, I believe.
Let me see.
I just wanted to like get the timeline. Right.
Okay. After Adam and Seth and Idris and Noah, right? Because all of that all of that is before Abraham. Then Abraham. All right. So you want to start with Abraham? Abraham, Ismail, Isaac, Yaqub, Yusuf.
Okay, so Moses come after.
Yeah, Moses is maybe 2 after.
So, what's the correlation between? You say Abraham? Who? What was next?
Ishmael, Isaac.
Those are Abraham's 2 sons.
Jacob.
No.
Yaqub, which is the next.
Ishmael and Isaac are Abraham's 2 sons.
And then there's Yaqub.
And who's Yaqub's sons? Who?
I have to. We need to do.
Jacob, father. Isaac is his father. Okay. And who's next?
Yusuf, which is Jacob's son.
Jacob's son. And then who comes after that?
It says Shuaib. I don't know.
Okay.
I'm not familiar.
So that's fine. So I just kind of wanted to know, like, in what time. I let the time you know. So
it was before Moses.
Yeah. Okay. All right, we can continue.
And he ended up he's in Egypt as well.
Yeah.
As for one of you, you will go back to serving wine to the king. And as for the other, and birds will come and peck away at your head. And that's exactly what ended up happening with the 2 people that asked the question to Yusuf alayhi salam.
Yusuf alayhi salam, when he saw the next prisoner leave, he said to him, "Mention me to your master and tell him that I am imprisoned without any crime or wrong." The shaitan made
This is like our last hope, and we may be their last hope. Every single minute, the conditions are changing. Or
the prisoner forget what Yusuf alayhi salam had asked him. Jibreel alayhi salam came to Yusuf alayhi salam in the prison, and he said to him, "Ya Yusuf, when your brothers threw you in the well, who is the one that saved you?" He said, "Allah." He said, "When you were taken into slavery, who is the one that chose good masters for you?" He said, "Allah." He said, "When the women seduced you, who is the one that saved you from it?" He said, "Allah." He said, "What prevented you from asking Allah now again?" And so he remained in the prison for several more years. Then something extraordinary happened. The Pharaoh, or the king, saw a dream. Some say that this Pharaoh followed the religion of Yusuf alayhi salam, but he was a good Pharaoh. The Pharaoh saw a dream. I saw 7 fat cows in my dream, and 7 lean cows were devouring the fat cows. Likewise, I saw 7 green ears of corn and 7 withered ones. They were dry, no fruit, nothing. O chiefs, explain to me my dream if you can interpret. They said, the chiefs, these are just confused dreams, and we know nothing of the interpretation of such type of dreams. Now it is time to bring about the one who deserves to be there, and he is Yusuf alayhi salam. Then said the one who had been released, remember the prisoner? Now he remembered Yusuf alayhi salam. I will inform you of its interpretation, so send me forth. He said, go. O Yusuf, the truthful one, please interpret us the dream. So Yusuf alayhi salam gave him the interpretation. Listen to what he said. He said, for 7 years you shall sow
Drought,
continuously, meaning you'll have lots of crop. You will sow and you won't stop. You'll have abundance for 7 years. Then what you reap of the harvest, leave it on the ear. Don't open them. Keep them inside. Except a little whereof you eat. Don't open up anymore. And store the rest away, but within their mother stem. So they can be protected from parasites, worms, beetles, insects, preserved. Then after that, there shall come upon you 7 hard years, in which you shall devour all that you have reserved for them, except a little you keep in store. You are going to need the amount of what you ate in the last 7 years again. You will eat all of what you reap in those next 7 years, and plus you will need more, except the ones you've stored earlier. So keep them stored. Then there shall come after that a year in which the people have rain, and in which they press wine. 1 year. When the king heard about that, he was taken to extraordinary shock. He said to him, go and get me him. When he went there, the prisoner, he said to him, the king wants you. Yusuf alayhi salam knew that this was good news, but there was something wrong. Yusuf alayhi salam is still accused of something which he didn't do. He refused to get out of the prison until he was proven innocent. So he said to him, he said, go back to your lord, the king. Ask him concerning the women and question them. Your minister knows what I'm talking about. Meaning, get his wife after as well. And they will tell you the whole truth. When the king got this, he called them and he put them to trial. And they said, God forbid, we don't know any bad or guilt upon him. Yusuf is absolutely clean. So they brought the minister, and he also told them the truth. The wife came along and she said, now the truth has been made undoubtedly clear. I am the one who seduced him upon himself. He is among the truthful ones.
Okay, I'm gonna stop it there. We can have a quick discussion about that. So what have you gathered so far?
Who gave that initial translation?
It's a who?
Who gave that initial translation of the dream?
Yusuf. The prisoner went to go see him and tell him about it, and Yusuf gave the interpretation, and then the king said, oh, I want to talk to him directly.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
Basically, a drought is coming, and you have to prepare.
Yeah.
Wait, Yusuf is 100% Muslim, right?
He's what?
He's like 100% Muslim at this point, right?
Yeah, well, at the time, the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, hadn't yet lived yet, right?
Yeah.
So at the time, it's the religion of Abraham, so it's the continuation of like the same type of thing. So I get, yes, to answer your question in terms of like what we think, but it wasn't, the Quran didn't exist at that time, if that makes sense.
Yeah, so technically they are considered to be like Muslim because they believe in the oneness of like one God.
Yes.
So technically in Islam, like, you're considered Muslim if you believe in the oneness of one God, which, remember at one point they were asking him, when you got put, like, thrown into the water, who saved you? He said, Allah.
Yep.
He kept repeating, Allah, Allah, Allah. So when you got locked up, he was like, why can't Allah save you? So he stuck to the oneness of everything was Allah, 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 right?
Yeah.
So that automatically in Islam is considered to be Muslim. So all of these prophets are technically, but at this time it wasn't established yet. Like Judaism wasn't established yet, Christianity wasn't established, Islam wasn't established at this time. That's why I was asking them for a timeline, just to kind of clarify that, because Moses come in the time, and then Judaism get established, and then you got Jesus, Isa, and then after that you got the Prophet Muhammad.
That makes sense.
Now Yusuf alayhi salam accepts to come out. Coming out with what?
Oh, sorry. I wanted to have a discussion real quick because something stood out to me. Because it still applied to this day, and I think it's funny because I was kind of like looking at it like, if I was given a chance to get out of prison, y'all can chime in too, and I refuse. I say I'm not getting out until my name get clear. Like in that situation, what you guys would do, like what you guys are going to do? Like, okay, you're
a prisoner.
Yeah, like, cause he was in prison. They said, okay, you're free to go. He said, no, I'm not leaving until my name get clear, until I get proven innocent. So he refused to leave.
Well, I don't blame him, because I think he knows the king at that point needed him. So if he has to be cleared, they would actually find out the truth and clear his name.
Yeah, like put in because remember at that point he's there as a slave, right? And so why are we going to put in that much effort to see who did it, who didn't do it? You're a slave. Whereas like now it's like, okay, you know what? He actually he's providing this like interpretation and all this other stuff. And to your point, now it's like, okay, let's take his case seriously, because they probably didn't even have a trial for him, right, or anything. It just kind of threw him in jail. So it's probably like, yeah, let's take this case seriously and
Yeah, and also I think like something that's like prevalent in the story is like first that he has a strong belief in Allah, God, right? And I think he lives by that, and he's moved by that, right? So he moved on the accord of like the oneness of God and believing just the true God. So I think him, the Pharaoh saying, "Yo, I want to see him." I think him clearing his name is not only because, I don't think it's only because the Pharaoh needed him. I think it was just to like clarify, clear his name, because sometimes you can be found not guilty, but the stains, yeah, he did it. We can say OJ, like a lot of people believe OJ still did it, but let's just say it's a situation where someone got free, like in the OJ situation, and he's actually not guilty. And people saying, but we know OJ did it, or we know such and such did it. But truthfully in your heart, yeah, you're free, but that the public perception is still, man, he did that, man. He just beat the case. He just beat the, So I think he wanted to get the person that put him there, that lied on him, to come forth and tell the truth, to know that even when I get out of prison, my name is not stained, my name is clear, that I'm an honest person and I'm truthful. And I'm not deceiving people. I'm not getting out of jail just because I can explain or interpret your dream for you. Therefore, I get a some type of favoritism, by the Pharaoh to get out of here when I'm actually guilty. But he believed that he's not guilty. He's speaking the truth. So he wanted to get that clarified moving forward. That's what I was asking. If let's just say if you're guilty of something, but you're clear, this is where true honesty comes in, right? Like, if you're guilty of something, but you beat the case, are you gonna say, no, Your Honor, I'm really guilty? You know what I'm saying? You're probably gonna say no. So
no, I would never do such a thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
go
ahead.
Although you want to make like decisions that don't make you look bad in general in the public or put you at risk of going to jail, if you're in that situation, it's their job to convict you, right? Like, and if they fail to do so, you can repent however you deem necessary, but I'm not putting myself back in the jail because they failed to do their job.
No, yeah, understandable. And I think like that's like the whole prophetic thing comes in, and just being very honest and truthful and being pure. Because like what you're saying, I guarantee I'd probably say 99% of the probably 100% of the people that's gonna go to jail and beat their case are not gonna say, "Yo, I'm actually guilty." But in his case, he's saying, "Okay, no, I do not want to leave until I'm proven innocent." Right? To me, it's just like
there's a value in that.
Yeah.
Just like you were just saying, like just being out on the street when everybody think you did something.
Yeah.
The public perception, how people treat you, because you see people who even beat their case and they're out.
Exactly.
And you get that side eye or the chatter behind you type deal.
Yeah. Oh, you wanted to add something?
No.
Okay, make sure your mic is. So yeah, so what I gather from there is just like honesty and also clearing your name. Because I told a story, a kid lied on me to this day I won't forget. You know the funny thing is? Look, I swear to God to everything. You know the thing is, the kid I told you about in school, guess what his name was?
Liar.
No, Yusuf Bangura. To this day I remember his name.
That's funny.
Right? And we're looking at the story of Yusuf. I swear to God, 2nd grade, our teacher there was Mr. Fire. I will never forget this. He was skipping school. He came to school with his dad and lied to the professor that the reason that he's been missing school is because I've been bullying him from going to school, right? So the professor came inside the classroom and called me outside, and I went out there. We all stood there at the door and had a conversation. He said, "So why you been doing what you been doing?" I'm like, "What are you talking about?" And he was like, "Yeah, Yusuf said that you've been bullying him and preventing him from coming to school." I'm like, "What?" So I got in trouble for that. I'm like, "How?" It's like his word against my word. And I'm like, "Yo, just..." Later on, he came out and confessed. But look, his pathway to school and my pathway to school is not even the same. So I'm trying to explain it to them. Like, no, whatever. He was crying and all of that. Later on, he actually admitted to our professor that he was lying. So I'm like, it's so ironic that his name was Yusuf Bangura, and we're looking at the story of Yusuf.
So when he came out and confessed, did you forgive him?
So I got a question.
I don't know if I did. Yeah.
So in a case like that where you are guilty, but they find you to be innocent, and you don't clear the record to state that you're actually guilty, does that make you a bad Muslim?
I think as a person, it makes you don't really have integrity. It kind of takes away your integrity, because if you did something and you actually did it, but then they said you didn't do it, like, yeah, great, you're walking out free, but in terms of like your integrity and stuff, it's So yeah, Almami, it makes you a bad Muslim. And then because they might even find somebody else and blame somebody else for the crime that you did.
Yep.
And lock them up.
Well, okay, yeah. To that, if it goes to that extent, then yeah.
Yeah.
But most people are gonna go the other way.
So I was gonna ask you, did you forgive him?
I was in the 2nd grade. I don't know if I forget. I don't remember now. Yeah, I forgive him, whatever. But at the time, I don't know what I was thinking. I probably was still mad.
I like to think of the story of Yusuf as a story of forgiveness, which we can go out,
Yeah, no, now I forgive him. I think it's actually funny now. But at the time, I don't know. I got in trouble and all of that. So I don't know if I don't even know. I was still cool with him after that. So I'm pretty sure I wasn't even thinking about it as a kid that much.
Because, his brother threw him in a well, so.
He's not my brother. All right, we're going to continue. How you doing, Ebro? If you just walked in, make sure you click on watch stream. We're doing a story of Yusuf. So if you just walked in, make sure you click watch stream so you can listen to the video. Let's continue.
With respect. Alright, Dada, I just have to join back in. Something just popped up.
No problem.
And the king said to him, "Today, O Yusuf, you have a firm, strong holding and establishment. You're with me today. What do you want?" He asked for the job of the treasurer. Yusuf wasn't only the treasurer. Yusuf alayhi salam, he ruled everything. And this is how we gave power to Yusuf on land.
Wait, I'm going to go back a little bit. What did he ask the prophet?
To him, "Today, O Yusuf, you have a firm, strong holding and establishment. You're with me today. What do you want?" He asked for the job of the treasurer.
Okay.
Yusuf wasn't only the treasurer. Yusuf alayhi salam, he ruled everything. And this is how we gave power to Yusuf on land. 7 years will come past. Those 7 years, Allah had blessed him with so much. And Yusuf alayhi salam, for 7 years, he put a strategy that he kept enough stock for the next 7 years. So people were comfortable in the first 7 years. And then the next 7 years came so tough. And the drought did not only come to Egypt, but even the countries surrounding Egypt. Everywhere else, the prices of food jumped. And in Egypt, the prices are still the same, no changes. And that drought hit Palestine.
Yeah, I want to get into it. Doesn't that sound like inflation a little bit?
Well, drought is, I've never experienced drought before.
No, I'm saying like he also talking about the price stays the same and whatever the case may be. But
they're going through what we about to go through. So.
Yeah.
I think like what they started portioning things.
No, for sure.
And people would come, like head of household, you say how many people you have in your family, and then you're portioned out. But yeah.
And I think he said also there was a valuable lesson in one of those. He said that in those 7 years he was blessed with so much, right? Like, you know, he was still locked up. He was still in prison. And it's like at times we always say that like things might not be going your way for a long time, but that don't mean you're not receiving blessing. It's just your time is coming. You know.
Agreed.
So.
Palestine. And who's living in Palestine? His family. And how long has it been? Decades. So they plan to go down from Palestine to Egypt. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he says, when Yusuf alayhi salam is doing his job as a treasurer, monitoring everything, making sure everything's under control, unexpected, who comes? His brothers. So Yusuf alayhi salam recognized him. And they didn't know who he was. And Yusuf alayhi salam started to ask him questions. He asked them, how many brothers do you have? They said, well, 11 in total. But at that time there weren't 11, it was less than that. Benjamin, his brother from the same mother and father, was not with them. Yusuf alayhi salam gave each one of them what they deserve. But they said, we have other family members back home. Yusuf said, I will not give you until you tell me who they are. You bring them, I want to see them. Now they know. They know their father, and they know what they've done with Yusuf. So they said between each other, we could deceive our father in any way, and we'll play a game on him. Now Benjamin is with them after making firm pledges, and they entered from different gates. Yusuf saw his brother from the same mother and father and hugged him, and he said, I am your brother.
So let me
remember me. And what did Yusuf?
Actually, no. Go ahead.
Yusuf alayhi salam do? After he prepared and he gave each one of his brothers enough stock that each one of them can have, he had a drinking cup. This drinking cup was made out of gold. He told one of his employees to hide that golden cup in the camel of his brother Benjamin. And then Yusuf alayhi salam started to investigate.
So one thing to note here. So first the brothers came, right? And based on my understanding and recollection of this, his brothers came. They said, how many do you have? And then they gave the number, right? But all of them weren't there. So he said, nope, you got to bring all of them there, right? I think there were, and we could do research on this. I don't know if the other 2 or 1 was younger than he was, or maybe doesn't like remember, wasn't part of like the ones that threw him, that did what they did to him. But they had to basically convince the dad, like, okay, because the dad wasn't about to let them take, the other younger sibling because of what you did to Yusuf. Like the last time you went out, he didn't come back. So why would I let you take this other, my other child? So that I think that's the part where they didn't go into that much detail about it, but they said something along the lines of like the brothers needed to go back to convince the dad to allow them to bring the siblings so that it can be everyone there. Yeah. And then, here the next thing we're going to go through is Yusuf is going to basically set one of the brothers up to make it look like he's a thief, to retain him so that, he can do what he needs to do and bring the dad and all of that.
Got you.
Who is is the thief among you here? And who was present? His brothers. And at the end, when he reached to his brother's camel, he found the stolen property. Benjamin, he is the one that stole this property. And what's his punishment? He's the slave, and he's got to stay behind with me. His brothers were shocked. So what did they say? Him? He had a brother like him who stole before. They're talking about him. And himself, Yusuf alayhi salam said, you are the ones who are in more evil. Allah knows what his people plotted. So when they went back to their father became so passionate. I'll have the good patience. Maybe this time Allah will bring me both of them back. And then he walked away from them. He was so upset and sad that he lost his sight. Can't you get over it? That's what they told him. Still gonna continue thinking of Yusuf until you're gonna collapse. I'm not complaining.
Assalamu alaikum, brothers and sisters. I'm here in one of the Palestinian refugee camps, and there's a
to you. I'm complaining to my Lord Allah. And then what did he say? Oh children, go back and search for Yusuf and his brother. Subhanallah, we just told you forget about Yusuf, and now you are telling us to go and look for him. They came back humble. So what did Yusuf alayhi salam say? Do you remember what you did to Yusuf and his brother when you were ignorant? So what did they say? They were shocked. Is it you? That's Yusuf? I am Yusuf, and this is my brother. They put their heads down and said, verily Allah had preferred you above us. So what did Yusuf alayhi salam do? I'm not even going to bring it up anymore. Forget it. Consider it's forgotten from today. He let them all free. He gave him his shirt and he said, take that shirt back to my father and you'll see my father's sight will come back again. Allah says in the Quran al-Kareem, from the moment they left Egypt, their father, he said, I could smell the smell of Yusuf. I don't want to say it, but then you start saying, I'm going crazy. When the brother Bashir came after 8 days, he gave the garment, he gave Yusuf's shirt or garment to his father. He said, didn't I tell you? Oh no, from Allah what you don't know. Now they had to surrender. So they said, you know, this person that we've been dealing with turned out to be Yusuf. So they said to their father, or dad, ask Allah to forgive us. The wolf did not eat Yusuf, we threw him in the world. We were wrongdoers. He said, I'm gonna ask Allah to forgive you. He is the most merciful. Yusuf alayhi salam, he grabbed his parents, he hugged them, enter Egypt in peace. He put his mother and his father next to him on the throne. And what did all his brothers do? They all prostrated to Yusuf alayhi salam, including his mother and father. But it was a prostration of respect. So Yusuf alayhi salam said, remember last time I met you, I told you about a dream that I saw? 11 planets and the sun and the moon prostrating to me. Now this is the interpretation of the dream. Allah had made it come to reality. What's the 11 planets? His brothers. What's the sun and the moon? His father and mother.
He went through a lot of hardships, but in the end, after patience and taqwa, he became a king. You are going to be victorious.
Salam, brother, salam. Yeah, that was a good story.
Yeah, and one thing here, which they didn't emphasize in the video, is like he forgave his brothers, like, and he truly kind of like, he not only forgave them, but he then gave them, welcomed them into Egypt, set them up and all of that, despite all of what he had been through. So I definitely always like, I always look at this story as like, I guess, what are the common themes for everyone? I want everyone to kind of say, what themes do you feel like you get from this, themes or lesson? Like if there was like 2 or 3 words, themes or lessons.
There's a lot.
A whole lot of forgiveness.
Yeah, because
I ain't gonna lie, you throw me in the well.
Let me see.
Die.
Yeah.
It can't be that much.
I know. Keep. My mom is calling me. Just 1 second.
But yeah, no, for me, the one thing that stands out more than anything is just the forgiveness. Pretty extraordinary. Yeah, it's me. But yeah, it's he's very strong. I give him that. But yeah, that's the one thing for me.
Yeah, no, agreed with forgiveness. What about you?
Me, it's a couple things. I give my story of like that's also forgiveness, and also like patience and faith, believing your truth, and you know like when you know you're not guilty, and just. But that's not, life is not fair. It doesn't always work out that way. But I'm just saying in terms of like in this story specifically, to me this betrayal, patience, forgiveness, and being above everybody else when not saying that you're better than him, being above all the negativity. Yeah. I think that's what Yusuf did. It's like even though you guys literally pushed me to my death, I still forgive. Even if you guys betray me, you guys are my brother, I still forgive. So
yeah.
I think faith is a big one. Just for him to be praising like God in those moments or downtime, like it's hard to be grateful or like keep faith in something that you can't even see or reach when things are going on. Going bad or going to hell. So faith is a big one.
That's a fact.
Yeah. And then Gake, I don't know if you want to say anything. But also go ahead.
Sorry. I was gonna say for me, definitely patience, the amount of patience he had, and also from his dad's side too. To me, the longing his dad had all this time to the point where he went blind, it made me just want to cry. So that side of him, and he keep saying to his kids, go get Yusuf, and the kids keep saying, no, he's not, he's dead. Him having that faith of like, no, I'm pretty sure he's out there somewhere. That just really touched me a lot.
So like a parent's love as well. Is seen here.
And I've heard a lot of people say that a lot of time when they, when they can't be around their kids or something, that the story of Yusuf and what his father went through touches them a lot. So I think his father's side, looking into that perspective, is also so interesting.
Yeah, no, I agree. For me, I agree with all of what you guys said. Here we see a story of, someone who, your family, people that are blood to you, right? They had a glimpse of what it could be for you in the future, and because of, the envy and all this other stuff, like it overtook them for them to throw you into a well, for you to, as a child, right? For you to stay there and starve to death, right? Like, I mean, we're all fasting right now and not drinking water or eating, and to be thrown into a well and not know when you're gonna ever go out, and if your fate is literally to sit here and die by starvation and hunger and thirst, that is pretty wild as a child. And then from there on, you get into slavery, and now you're a slave, right? Whereas you come from a prophetic family, you from loving parents, and things like that, and now you're just sold into slavery. You can't even say like, hey, actually, I'm not a slave, return me. Like, no, you're captured, you're a slave. You go, you work, you're doing all these things for all these years, you're growing up, and then like, master to master, and then or maybe growing up in one household with the master, and then boom, someone in that household again wants to take advantage of you, right? Like there's no safe space for you in the world. Someone in that household wants to take advantage of you. They set you up with like, other community women and all this other stuff. Now you're in jail. And it's almost like at this point you still have nothing. You were betrayed. You're in prison. You don't even have your dignity, right? Because you've been blamed for this crime. So even your dignity and your integrity you don't have. At a minimum, right? Because that's one thing people don't. Not only do you not have like something physical, your physical like money and all this other stuff was removed, family love was removed, your power, your freedom was removed, and then an added on layer, your dignity and your integrity is also removed because now you have this lie of you did this and you're a criminal.
Yeah.
So you're and all of this stemmed from something that these people like your brothers whatever did to you, right?
Yeah.
So any normal person, any kind of added on suffering, I feel like will make them even angrier and angrier and angrier, right?
Yeah.
Like, because that's where it started. Had they not done that, you would have had not even gotten to the point where you've even lost your dignity and you're in prison. And then even with that, like being able to still navigate and do what he needs to do. And when he rose up higher than anyone could have even thought of in Egypt during a period when there's drought and when his sibling and family needed help, he strategically kind of, made it so that his father and his mother will come to the city and recognize who it is. But, never, and then even then the siblings didn't care, and they even lied. They were like, "Oh, we have this many count of sibling," like and making it seem as if Yusuf, like they still were trying to like play the system, And so forgiveness after all of that's been done is crazy. And one thing that I've learned, and when I listen to this story, when you think about forgiveness, like what do you guys always hear when they say forgiveness? Forgiveness is for who? Like, I feel like it's a saying. You've ever heard that? Forgiveness is for yourself, right? People are always saying that forgiveness is yourself. I never really like when people say forgiveness is yourself. It's like, okay, like forgiveness is yourself. Like, what does that mean? Did you guys ever really think through, like, what do you mean forgiveness is for, like, what does that mean?
In essence, I think about like forgiving somebody. When I hear that, forgiving somebody in order to be able to process what just happened and move on. Holding on to like grudges is forever going to keep you in that moment. So if you truly want to get past it, you have to forgive them for you and truly forgive them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What is that? What you were going to say too?
Yeah, it's just letting it go. Whatever the problem may be at the time, just letting it go. Mm-hmm. Because if you hold on to the problem, yourself becomes the problem.
Yep.
For yourself.
And so
to yourself,
the way that I now think about like true forgiveness, because forgiveness is I forgive you for what you did with this, right? Mm-hmm. But in order for me to forgive you for what you did with this, what it truly means to me, forgiveness is kind of relieving the offense, letting go of the offense. Mm-hmm. So the big word for me is offense. Yeah. If true forgiveness cannot be held if you still have offense, if you're still offended or feel that offense of what happened. Yeah. The only way you can truly forgive someone and have it get away and clear from your heart is by relieving yourself from that offense feeling. And so, like, all of what they did, essentially him being able to release that offense, and once you've released it, even if you don't tell the person verbally, I forgive you, that in itself is forgiveness because it no longer impacts you or bothers you. You get what I'm saying? You don't even have to verbally say anything to the person.
I ain't forgiving myself. I got to forgive you first before I forgive myself.
No. I didn't say forgive yourself.
I'm saying, like, when people say, forgiveness is for self.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I'm saying, I don't stand with that.
Forgiveness is for self. You don't stand. What do you, so what do you mean?
Man, me and you got to figure that out. I got to forgive you first. Like, I ain't letting nothing go until I know that I got a clear message to the person that I'm forgiving. I have to send.
You have to tell them.
It depend on the person. If it's a regular person, okay, cool. But if it's somebody that I am close with, mm-hmm. and something like that, I have to speak to. I have to make sure that before I even forgive myself, I gotta forgive you for. They say you gotta forgive self first. No, I have to forgive you first.
So I don't think to me, it's not.
Wait, is this saying that you gotta forgive self?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying.
For, like, your overall well-being, and not to end up like just being a bitter individual who's just
Yeah.
Holding on to things that happened in the third grade type deal.
No, not that
like,
type of situation.
Forgiving, what I mean by forgiving is for yourself, like forgiving the person benefits yourself. That's what I mean by that, not forgiving yourself.
Oh, you say forgiving the person. Okay, I thought you meant
forgiving
like...
the person. Because you didn't do nothing.
Okay,
like, let's say
okay.
in the situation, you didn't do anything wrong.
In that,
Yeah.
In that case, yeah.
Like it helps, it's for yourself.
That's what you saying, I'm just going to let it go. Like I'm going to be the... in the sense of I'm going to be the bigger person. It's just fine. I'm just going to... Like, I think you come in conclusion that I'm just going to let the situation go.
Yeah, no.
Whether you talk to them or not.
Yeah, so that's what I mean by if you forgive the person, if I forgive person A for what they did, right? That means that I no longer feel offended. That offense is no longer in my heart for what they did. It no longer impacts me, and I no longer feel hurt for what they did. I've released that. And I think once you've released it, that's when you can truly forgive a person. Now, if I verbally go to person A and say, I forgive you, or if I don't, the fact that it no longer offends, it's no longer weighing on my heart.
Yeah, no, I get it.
Is actually forgiveness.
I get that. Mom, you want to say something?
I was about to say what you just mentioned is a part of like the process of forgiving, right? Like engaging with the other individual to get an understanding or try to get on the same page or to convey like how you're feeling or what they made you feel. Then you can make your decisions on like whether I'm at a point where I want to forgive this individual. Obviously you got to forgive them first, but you're doing it essentially for yourself.
Got you.
Got me.
No, that's clear.
And I think Kake, you had gone off mute. I don't know if you wanted to say something.
I wanted to add on to the theme when we asked about the theme. I think another important one also is also jealousy. Because it is what really started with the whole sibling of his brothers being so jealous of the love between him and his father. And the video didn't go too in depth, but I think like the father, as much as he loved all his kids, he favored Yusuf more and the little boy. And so I think it is a theme for also like just parents, and a lot of time when you have so many kids and stuff, you end up being a little more closer to one, but you don't really know how that creates some animosity and jealousy in the other, where there's some hate and so. So I think that's another thing.
Hold of your iman, don't give in to shaitan. Oh, you who believe, please give thanks to Allah. Allahu Ghafoor, Allahu Rahim, Allahu yuhibbul muhsinin. Huwa khaliquna, huwa raziquna, wa huwa ala kulli shay'in qadir. Allah is Ghafoor, Allah is Rahim, Allah is the one who loves the muhsinin. He is our creator, He is our sustainer, and He is the one who has power over all. Give thanks to Allah.